stuck here. The cops won't bother me. Right, I am piloting the SH-150i today on board the cockpit, and we're just going to be riding a little bit. I even got my boots on. That's a first for me to have boots on a scooter, but it feels pretty good. This is a pretty interesting dual sport. This is one of those Chinese ones, but that's a 50. That's kind of incredible. It's the Expect, or at least it says it's a 50, but it looks bigger. It's kind of neat. I don't know, it looks pretty darn good. It's got a kickstart and electric start. I would have to look into these. Well, this bike is doing something really weird. I'm stopping. If I turn it off and then I start it, it kind of refuses to start, and I'm thinking, I think I might have an issue with the battery. Two of them, and you see that? That's a sign that the tires are warped or low on pressure. Turn it off, and now I'm going to turn it back on, and see? It just doesn't want to start. See, I have to push it in order for it to start. It's really odd. Doesn't want to start. I'm going to have to check it out. That's the first time I've had any issues with this bike, but you know, I haven't had it for very long. Oh man. I've got it home, so I'm going to try this out. Stop. Right? And then, see? Look at that, nothing. Okay, stop. And nothing. It's as if I need to move a little bit. Okay, what about... It starts now. I think the battery might be low. Try it again. Now it starts. Okay. Maybe it's just getting hot. I do notice that my temperature gauge is at the middle, but I think I'm going to also, I don't like when you turn on the key, the light automatically works. So my temperature gauge is at the middle. I don't know if that's normal, but that's a little bit dysfunctional of this bike. Alright, I needed to go out and ride since my little tiny scooter, you know, I checked the battery, it was fine. So it's one of these things that I am not quite sure what's going on. Man, I am really liking this Maxi scooter life. I mean, this thing is just so comfortable and just so easy to ride. I would love to try out some of the other Maxi scooters, and now that I like this sort of thing, like, I should not have sold my T-Max. The T-Max was much nicer than this. I think the only thing I miss is the cornering ability of motorcycles on the Maxi scooters. We're coming up on Sunshine, Maryland. It's not far from where I live, but I just like to come here because I live really in the outskirts of the countryside and the city. And normally, I think a lot of riders would have to travel quite a bit to get here, but I'm kind of fortunate that I live in such a flexible area. I mean, I can be out here in just a matter of minutes, and I can be in downtown in a matter of minutes. So why buy a Maxi scooter over a motorcycle? You know, that's actually a very interesting question. This particular scooter is a 500cc scooter. So this thing's got plenty of power for everyday riding. And it's an automatic. Hey, squirrel, get out of the way. And it's got ABS. And it's got ABS, it's fuel injected. So this thing has got all the goodies that a motorcycle has. So let's just say that, let's compare this to the Cb500. Since I've ridden a Cb500 cross country, and I've had 2 of them, let's compare it to this. One thing this thing beats the Cb500 right away is the comfort. I mean, you cannot go wrong with the comfort on a Maxi scooter. This thing is unbelievably comfortable. I mean, just, it's the seating position. It's as if like you're at home on your computer and working at your desk. That's what this is. That's how it feels like. Lots of gravel here. It feels like you're using your computer, like it feels like you're playing Red Dead Redemption 2. It's that comfortable. You can do it for hours upon hours. The CB, any bike that you have to straddle becomes a little bit more uncomfortable. And I think that this is a much better position for riding long distances. And I can see myself riding this thing cross country without any freaking issues. This thing is that comfortable. Feels like a bike that you can do those iron butt rides and just not feel one damn thing. It's just so comfortable. And of course, this thing has got the top speed that a Cb500 has. Probably not as much top speed, but because it's a single cylinder as opposed to an inline 2, it's got a little bit more grunt down low. And because of the automatic transmission, it seems like it's like a very smooth experience. And another thing is that scooters are much more approachable for most people. Most people, they see a scooter and they go like, yeah, I could probably ride it, because the transmission being automatic just welcomes people to ride it. Shifting is not all what it's made up to be, because a lot of motorcycles now are becoming like automatic. The African Twin, the NC700, yada yada. But I can see the benefits, and I think in Europe, when you ride in the cities, these things are much handier to have. Oh, that was a car there. Sometimes I think it's a cop. So these things are just so much better to have in Europe, because there's just like get in and go. When it comes to having a bike that you can ride every single day, I think a scooter is better, because you want to get groceries, you know, you just put it underneath the seat, you have that flexibility. And one of the worst things that happens with motorcycles is that these guys will buy adventure bikes and then they'll put panniers on them. You know, the bikes weigh 450 pounds, and then they put panniers and they put a top box and crash guards, and then the bike weighs 600 pounds. But a scooter, it's not pretending to be anything other than a scooter. Even a Maxi scooter is like, hey, I am just a utility vehicle. And I love that. I love that this thing is a utility vehicle. Top speed. This is not as fast as the Cb500. The Cb500, I think top speed, I kind of forgot what I measured it at. Everybody online claims it's like 110, but they're just smoking some crack. The real top speed is about like 95, 96, 97. And the V-Strom is actually like 110, so that makes sense. A lot of people that buy bikes, they just have this idea that their bike is like super fast because the speedometer is like off. The good thing about this is that the Maxi scooter does require more maintenance, and we'll talk about that later. Some gravel here. But with the belt drive system, it's quiet, it's less maintenance than a motorcycle. But on the downside, if you guys have paid attention to my channel, you know that this is a beast to maintain, because with all this plastic and with the awesome wind flow that it provides you, that means that to do any sort of basic maintenance, you're going to have to remove a lot of plastic, and it's a pain in the ass to remove a lot of plastic on this bike. It just is. It's the nature of the Maxi scooter. It's just covered in plastic. And another thing, this thing is really good for the winter. Tucking your knees in like this just feels so good. Look at these cars. This place has got some really cool cars. There's an Isuzu Rodeo over there that's pretty badass. It's like a camper. There's like some Acura NSX, a Ford F100 over there. That's all mint. That's an Acura NSX. Really cool stuff. Now, if you're going to be commuting every single day, honestly, if I was given the choice of a Cb500 as opposed to this, I think I'd pick this. Because in the DC area, it is bumper to bumper all the time. So the automatic transmission works in its favor. And in the winter, it's cold. So you get the added benefit of all this plastic shielding you from the winter. And as you guys know, some of the worst things that you have to work with in the winter is that wind resistance. And my knees on a motorcycle get really cold. But look at this, you can put your knees like this and you're basically out of the wind flow. I think I would definitely pick this as a commuter bike. It just makes much more sense. The benefit of the Cb500, I think, is you get battery efficiency. Miles per gallon, I think, are much higher on the Cb500. So this thing is probably 45 to 50. Cb500 is close to 60. So it's quite a difference. Also, you know, the resale value of the Cb500 is also much higher than this. The CB being a Honda, you know, people really want it. And it's not like this bike is bad, but let's say this was a Honda, even a Honda Silverwing, doesn't have as good a resale as the CB, because scooters have a terrible resale value. But that could work in your favor, because you'd be spending more money to buy a Cb500 anyway. So if you got a Kymco for half the price, let's say $3,000, you are essentially ahead of the game in commuting. As a touring bike, I think that's a toss-up between the CB and this. For me, ever since I started riding this Kymco, I'm starting to see the real possibilities behind this as a touring bike. It's just so much more comfortable. I could do an iron butt without even trying on this. And the seat is much wider, so comfort-wise this is better for touring. But you do have much bigger wheels on the CB, so that creates more stability, and you could off-road the CB a little bit more. Actually, this one's not great for you know, off-road riding at all. And the new CBs are really good for off-road riding because they've changed the wheel sizes. They made the wheel sizes comparable to the V-Strom and the Yamaha Tenere and the GS and all of that. So if your idea of touring involves gravel, the CB is going to be much better than this. If your idea of riding is, oh, Blue Crab Fitness, look at that. Oh, like they're doing stuff outside. That's awesome. When it comes to poser points, you're not going to get any poser points on a Maxi scooter. Actually, it's one of the things that removes poser points. You're not going to win any friends riding a Maxi scooter. But if you're a guy like me that actually gets off on having things that are a little bit unpopular and doing more with them than the people that get very good, expensive toys, then you might like the Maxi scooters. It's kind of like, oh yeah, you take something that's uncool and you ride the living crap out of it. Man, I like that idea. Look at that. Maxi scooters have a value that a lot of Americans do not see. And I think for me, I'm only starting to see it because I'm seeing a lot of scooters that are amazing. The Maxi scooter life is real. I think people that ride motorcycles, I think if they let go of their egos and gave Maxi scooters a try, I think they would actually enjoy it. But you know, old habits die hard. You know, if you're into riding sport bikes and that's all you know, and your ego is attached to it, then you'll never get a scooter. But I think you can learn a lot from people in other countries. You know, the riders in Europe I've seen are much better than the riders in America. And in America, everybody's into that whole like wheelies thing, you know, wheelies on the highway. So they never really learn to ride. Maxi scooter life is thug life, guys. It's subtle. You just don't see people coming in a Maxi scooter. It's like ninjas. That's why you need to have a quiet exhaust. You know, I hate the idea that this exhaust is so loud. But man, like riding a Maxi scooter just disarms people. A lot of people just get so aggressive now with motorcycles. You know, all the douche nozzles riding around the highway at high rates of speed, weaving in and out of traffic. Honestly, if I saw a Maxi scooter do that, I'd be like, go you. Go you. Be aggressive. Be aggressive on your Maxi scooter. Live the best life you can. That's what I think about Maxi scooters. That's why you can get away with a lot of stuff. The bar is set a little bit lower for Maxi scooter guys. I like it. It's the same thing with Teslas. You know, when I see a Tesla driver being a douchebag on 495, cutting people left and right, I'm like, go you. Use that battery juice. Go ahead. Cut that guy off. I like that idea of douche nozzles getting Teslas these days. I love it. I love that idea. And by the way, Elon Musk is now like the 5th richest person in the world. You know, another benefit of scooters is that I don't feel the need to constantly be pushing myself to speed. And with motorcycles, I feel like there's a sport to it. You know, I like the sport aspect of riding. But when you live in a major city like I do, or like in the outskirts, you're constantly fighting traffic. So when you kind of like take something like the Tenere, for example, it's way too fast for the location. The XR650R, it was just too big of a beast for the location. But a scooter, like a 500cc, it's even the big scooter. You might even ask, why get a 500? You know, a Honda Reflex 250 could potentially be a even better Maxi scooter. Well, I do feel that this thing doesn't corner very well. Every time I hit a corner, I'm like, am I going to hit the left or the right? On a motorcycle, I just know that I can lean really far, but it doesn't even matter. It's just like once you scrape something a little bit, then you're kind of just left wondering what you're going to be scraping next. At one point, all of this was farmland. Nobody was around here. And then there was like this uptick of houses being built. You see there's like an old farm here. It's a business, but this is what's happening to this area. It's like it's gone from farmland to residential very quickly, and it's all big McMansions. You know, nobody builds small houses anymore. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed the ride on the Maxi scooter. I think everybody should get one of these. They're surprisingly good, but only you be the judge. Look at these guys. Plus, when motorcycle riders, they don't wave at you, it kind of feels kind of cool. It feels like you're the bad boy and there's just a bunch of dentists.